In this lesson, we're going to be looking at primarily the 9216i MDS switch. Now previously we've done a lot of configuration with configuring vSANs and configuring ports to be part of vSANs and even checking which devices are logging in to which vSANs. But before a fiber channel device can communicate on the network, we first need to configure zoning. Now by default, when a switch is first turned on, the ports are in vSAN 1 or the native vSAN. Also, if there are not any zones configured, the ports by default are in the default zone, and by default nobody can talk to anybody else in that default zone. So in order to allow devices to talk to other devices, we must configure zones. On the MDS 9216, we're going to log in and we're going to create a zone. We're going to add members to that zone so that, for instance, Cisco UCS can talk to the NetApp disks. And then we're going to create a zone set, which is where we can take one or multiple zones and put them into a zone set, and then apply those zone sets to any devices that are participating in particular vSANs. So for instance, in vSAN 200, we could create Zone 1 and Zone 2. We would then create a zone set that would include Zone 1 and Zone 2 for vSAN 200, and then put them into that zone set and activate that zone set on the fiber channel network. So let's take a look at the switches. Here we're connected to my MDS 9216i. The first thing that I want to see is which devices are logged into my fiber channel network. So I'm going to do my show Floggy database, and in particular I want to see the devices that are logged into vSAN 2000. So here I can see I have 3 devices logged into vSAN 2000, and because I know my network, I know that 2 of the devices are storage devices, and one of the devices is my Cisco UCS with servers behind it. Now because my UCS is running in NPV mode, I may actually see more than one port worldwide name per interface logged into a particular vSAN, because NPV mode allows Cisco UCS to proxy fabric logins for the servers that exist inside of that blade chassis. But for the intentions of our lab, we're going to use the existing port worldwide names that we have logged into vSAN 2000. So the first thing we're going to do is create a zone. We're going to say configure terminal so that we can start making changes to the switch, and then we're going to say zone name, and I want to enter in something that makes sense to me, so I'm going to say UCS underscore NetApp underscore 2000. We also need to say that this zone is going to be a part of vSAN 2000. Now, once I do that, my configuration changes to being actually in my zone configuration. And what I can do once I'm here is I can actually add members to this zone. If I type member and press question mark, these are the different types of members that I can add to this zone. So most commonly used are the PWWNs, but I also have the ability to do individual ports or interfaces. I can do FCIDs, I can do whole switches. There's a lot of different options here, but usually what I'll end up doing is saying this server can talk to these storage ports. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now I'm going to say member PWWN, and then I don't remember all of those numbers, so I'm actually just going to scroll up here and I'm going to grab one of the port names by highlighting it, and then I'm going to scroll back down and paste it in there. Now I'm going to do the same thing 2 more times. There we go. And last time, I'm going to add in my Cisco UCS. And then go ahead and press enter. So now I have my 3 devices. I've got my 2 storage devices and my Cisco UCS. They're all members of the same zone, so they can all talk to each other. And now I'm going to exit out. Next, I'm going to create my zone set. In this case, I'm going to call my zone set UCS, and I'm going to say that it's part of vSAN 2000. Once I create my zone set, I need to include my member. So once again, I say member, but this time instead of putting individual ports, I actually put zones into my zone set. So if I have 1, I would put 1 in here, and if I have more than 1 zone that I want to apply to my switch, I would put more than 1 zone in here. In this case, I only have my UCS NetApp 2000. So I'm going to put in member UCS NetApp 2000, and I'm going to press enter. Now that member has been added to my zone set. I'm now going to exit out of that. Now that I've exited the zone set, all the configurations up until this point have been done but have not been applied. In order to apply these configurations, I need to enter in zone set, activate, the name of the zone set I'd like to activate, and the vSAN that it's associated with. Once I do that, these changes will be applied to the network. As you can see, my changes have now been initiated to the network, and I can check that through different show commands. Please join me for the next lesson, verifying zoning.